Ah. Hey, let me fix this. What's going on here? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Is this correct? All right, so I'll try not to be too noisy. My kid has his spring break, and by spring break, he gets to sleep in. How you been? As you can see here, there has been progress. It's not the best. Some areas I think are a little stiff, but this is just me being a bit too self-critical. But artists usually are the worst critics of themselves. Da, 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 da. So let's get on painting. But wait, before I start painting, I have to cut this open because I realize whenever I open this many paint bottles, I drop the covers like a mother F, and it's really irritating when I'm always like scrounging around my desk looking for the stupid covers. I was like, I thought, because I can lose track. Look how many there are already, and I've opened way more before. So for me to keep them in check and like, where is the thing? Where is the cover? Where is this? Where is that? And they fell somewhere under my desk. My desk underneath is a freaking nightmare and probably a possible black hole at this point. So I try to idiot-proof myself. There's an ongoing, I think, a reel about Asian parents, especially, where they say you are slowly turning into your Asian mom because you also save containers or plastic bags for the sake of repurposing them. They're right. Unfortunately, they're right. So I'm putting all the caps here. So hopefully this will be my useful invention for myself. I just figured this out on the spot. It's nothing special. And then, yeah, this is tried and true. I'm using things, but it's glass. It's nice, damn it. So I also use because I've been making spaghetti a lot lately, or pasta things lately, and a lot of these jars are quite nice, and I noticed I need more cup storage for my paintbrushes. So instead of, plus I stopped drinking Gatorade when they say it's like poison. I don't know. I'm not poison, allegedly, okay, but like more there's a whole bunch of things that are not so great for your body. So I was like, oh, okay, so I shouldn't be drinking that stuff. Tell that to pass me when I was guzzling them down back in 2018. So anyway, I think I have to change my sweater. It's too thick. I'm sorry. It is a brief technical difficulty. It's too stuffy. Yeah, it's a big sweater. It's one of those blanket hoodies that you can probably live in if it wasn't so short. Okay, yay. I am presentable now, as you can, yeah, you can't see anything. All right, so let's do the painting already. Stop complaining and get on with it. So how's your week so far? Happy hump day. An old supervisor told me that, and when I heard happy hump day, and I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean by? And then it turns out it's like the middle of the week, and I was like, oh, yeah, that terminology was so over my head. Well, he was several years older than me, so yeah. Anyway, now I'm several years older. Lovely how the times have turned. Okay, so what do I have here? I have to try, I want to clean up this area. It's a little bit dingy here, and I took a picture earlier, so there's some scattered, oh god, I'm looking for things that I need and I don't know where they are. So real-time artwork for me, I've always said this, tried and true, this bores me to tears. I don't like showing the entire process. And of course there will be like, why can't you just speed it up? You know, have like that, what most artists do, which is speed up the entire process. For starters, my camera sucks. I could use this one, and I have tried it, but it bored me to tears. Plus, I found several things where I wanted to remove, and then I found another problem, another. So it accumulates over time, and it just like all this time spent on doing video editing, I can add more to my freaking painting and to complete it. So that's my mindset, and I hate it. I really hate it. But um, I noticed while looking online on YouTube, I'm not necessarily looking for anything, but I do study some of the common denominators when it comes to successful or the demand that audiences have for their YouTubers in terms of having high quality content. And I'm like, it doesn't even feel like YouTube anymore. You can just put on a camera and just do stupid shit. Oh, sorry, stupid pee cock-a-doo-doo. But oh, he's asleep. It's okay. And but it's like it totally shifted from like you're recording on a crappy VHS camera, camcorder, and you talk about stupid things and come up with stupid little skits, and then now you have to have like your own production company, you have business deals. It's like another corporate sort of arrangement, it feels, rather than just doing a hobby, because that's usually how it starts off with. But now that, especially when money is involved, it feels more like it is a job. People do this for their livelihood. Some people are crazy successful with their business practices on YouTube. Some of them start off, small, build their way up, and then it just all starts crashing down when they get a little bit of a high. They're drunk with power, dare I say, and then there's all these YouTube scandals left and right, or TikTok scandals left and right, Instagram scandals left. Like, what? I don't know. It's kind of weird. And now I'm in the YouTuber. No, I don't know. I haven't done collabs. No one from. No, I would comment a few YouTubers at most, but at most I would get like a heart from the YouTuber. I rarely ever get comments back. Only I think I remember two people, I think, and then that's it. And I noticed that there was another meme about how to have the YouTube thumbnail, which always stumped me because it always has like arrows or whatever pointing to the subject of the video, and then the creator's face making an O face, like a shocked face, and it's super exaggerated. They do some weird computer CG stuff, and I'm like, oh, do I have to do that too? And even the editor who was doing YouTube first suggested that I copy what everyone else is doing, but he doesn't do the same as them entirely. He has his own spiel within his own capabilities. He came up with his own identity as a YouTuber. As for me, I don't even want to. I know my personality. I don't like doing that crap, and I'm sorry I called it crap, but this is just my defense mechanism for very unfamiliar things that are polar opposite to how I usually am, and people usually don't like that kind of, I don't know about negativity, but I had the word and I forgot because I was staring at some bread. It's more like anything that seems like it would not be like my personality, I don't want to do. And doing all that YouTube stuff, like the thumbnails and the weird personality, and I already talk naturally fast out of nervousness and stage fright. And being antisocial and introverted to a fault, but not enough so to just change my entire personality to cater to audiences. And maybe that is stabbing me in the foot, but I want to keep doing this and still enjoy it rather than forcing myself to be something I'm not on a camera, and then I'm a whole other because I'm basically sounding the way I sound right now. Okay, sorry. I dropped a paint bottle. But yeah, but I think one of my goals with this, like, what are your goals? I'm like, oh my God, shut up. But I do have some mental goals as to what's going on with my content. For starters, I like putting random things on there. I like the element of surprise in my favor, which I think kind of messes with people, but not in a bad way. Okay, not in a bad way. Just, oh, what's that? What? I thought she had art. Oh, she used to have an art channel, but now I think her stuff got hacked, and now she's spouting propaganda. I feel like I'm the only channel that does that, and I think it's hilarious. And it's also, I don't know. It's not like I'm not totally interested. I did go to that location where the Korean War happened. I did, but not in the 1950s. I don't have a time machine. I mentioned this before, but there is a museum for that war in China in Dandong City. I went to that museum. I can't understand. I think there were some English words, but I don't remember. All the pictures I took, I think I took there. I think I left it in China for whatever reason. If I go back there, I'll try to see if I can get those pictures in a flash drive or some other. We'll see. I don't know yet. But probably that's if I can even find it, because I do take a lot of pictures. But yeah, I was at that location. It's a tourist attraction, funny enough, and the bridge where someone blew it up, it's still there. We were watching videos of like a tour, like those online live tour walks. You know, they have it for other countries like Belgium, Germany, Italy, France, what have you. They have it for China too. And I was like, oh, it's still there. Because I've been there. It's nice. I don't know. I feel like people that are going onto Red Notes and then they find out that Chinese people and their culture and their lifestyle is not as backwards as Western media, or at least American media says it is. Why are we acting like we don't have any backwards ass things going in our own country? Okay, before you start, look at your own country's history before you start saying such things. Okay, everyone has problems. Everyone is not. We all have problems, all right? Everyone has propaganda too. I have to keep reminding. I also need to be better at doing comments on the videos, because sometimes after a while it gets tiring. But art stuff I don't mind, but I have been helping with the spring break stuff, as in keeping an eye on my kid. So I'm not as present as I thought I would be. So, there's a lot of paint boogers in here. What's going on? Yeah, sorry, I'm like, my way of talking was like all haphazard. There's just some things at the top of my head happen here and there. Okay, 12 minutes. I hate blending. I like the look of blending, but to actually achieve it, it's a little bit, I have to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because I found some problems and it's kind of annoying. And then in the process, I find paint boogers trying to ruin my work. Something fell. Excuse me. Well, maybe I could put my bracelet because it's just sitting here. I might go out later today because it's actually the nicest weather we had since the spring break started. The weather is cold, gray, and ugly, and rain to some degree. And it's annoying. I feel bad for my kid. I wanted to take him out on Monday, but I had to wait for a package. And then I also had to, I was suggesting, if you have to stay home, it's cold. You don't want to get sick now, do you? I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to make this a bit more of an exciting vacation for my kid. But when you're at home all the time, it's like, oh, you get lazy if you end up not doing anything. I know I do, especially with art stuff. But hopefully today we can go somewhere. Let's start small. Within the city is fine. What else can I talk about? I did write notes. Okay, in a bit. Let me just. Oh gosh, and that's not the area I'm supposed to be painting. Around here, because I still have like purple undertones peeking through the paint. No. I originally painted this blue. I just remembered, and then I didn't like how it was turning out. It was looking way too blue, even though I don't have as much blue, just here and there. But it didn't look right. So I went back to the original reference of pink, and it seems okay. I don't like pink this much, but here we are. What I also find challenging when doing these kinds of paintings that I never did before, like I never drew or painted a snake until this year. I never painted a detailed alligator in rainbow until this recently, literally. So I think sometimes artists, I can't say all of them because some of them actually do try different things, but I do know that we have a habit of being a creature of habit, and only sticking to the things because that is our theme, that is our, what is it, flagship, that is our brand. There you go. But for me, that will bore me to tears, and I don't like sticking to one or a few things. I like doing different things, and it gets a bit extreme, especially for those who follow me and they don't like unpredictability. They don't like standards going all haywire and in different directions. They want consistency. They want predictability. They want, I signed up to I subscribed to your channel because you have this, and now you keep doing different things. I'm getting out of here, and you're free to do that. I do the same thing too sometimes, but not for the most part. I don't mind when YouTubers do different things. It's fine. But when it goes, if it's, and it's a part of their content, that's fine too. And then they still do their things. What I don't like is I don't know, like they do a whole 360 and their content has nothing to do, which is funny for me because I have content that has nothing to do with art, absolutely nothing to do with art, but I find it funny. So some people like that stuff, but when it comes to my art stuff, they don't give a crap. I have to accept that. I'm slowly am. Okay, so let me see. What else do I have to? Okay, I need to add some blue. Okay. Ugh, why am I warm? Like, I was cold earlier, now I'm freaking warm. It's like this weather is driving me nuts. You want to be healthy, but this weather is so unstable. It's so easy to catch colds. Okay, I'm looking at what the heck am I doing? Okay. So I also have to paint over like chords and stuff. And I will try not to be super accurate, but no promises, because I do have the habit of wanting to be consistent and try to be as accurate as possible, but at the same time, I like human error. Like, I mean, not the severe, terrible, horrible kind, but just the kind like art wise, in terms of like it shows like a person did this. You know, nowadays everyone's like doing. A lot of people are still doing AI art, and this is probably I think the original reference is in fact AI art too, but you can still use it. You can just do this for practice. There's not whoever keeps doing weird things about like you shouldn't do this. You should be blah blah blah. Maybe you don't have that kind of time right now, okay? So it's fine. Just calm down. It's fine if it's practice purposes. And you say, like, I found it from where, then that's fine. That's fine. Stop crying. It's okay. I don't like talking like that. Okay. And then off and on, I don't go like, I have to do this, I have to do that. I just go back and forth, back and forth. And then if I make a problem, I just go back and fix it. That's all I've been doing. There's no secret. It's just, I just go back and forth here and there until something works, basically. Hope for the best. If it is the best, I don't know. What do you think? Oh God, there's some Yahoo outside with a chainsaw. It's not a horror movie. I think they're just doing yard work. Well, it's not that early. If it was like 7 in the morning, I would probably complain more, but it's not. It's almost 12. Like, and then like 50 so minutes or so. Okay, let's see that one. And then it gets a little darker. So you have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Wait, is there a line here? Okay, this one. Oh, no. Okay, so I have to put a line here too. Good to know. Good to know. Better now than later. Good to know. I don't know how people can talk while painting. I mean, I do it. It's just like, There are some live streams I've passed by, and they take like 3 hours to do a whole complete drawing. That's actually pretty good by artist standards, within 3 hours. But for me, I'm only doing this within an hour to like an hour and some minutes, and then I just like, I can't do this, I gotta go. So I admire those who can get their work done fast by hand. But at the same time, there's also the concept of editing. You know, you could say, oh, they draw so fast, but then they have they're good at editing. And I'm like, oh, well, I fall flat in that department. Oh gosh. The other thing is the paint is not as vibrant in person as it is on camera, which I am kind of sad about. Not real sad, just like, oh. Like maybe on here it looks vibrant, but as I'm looking at it right now, there's some areas that are kind of muddy. And I was like, oh crap. Hopefully, well, not that they don't notice, but yeah. Whew. Okay, let me see. What else is there? Oh, there's some green. Okay. Let me just do some blue first, be kind of consistent. Oh, I mentioned last week that I had a topic and then I forgot what it was, but I remembered. And then I said that next week I will talk about it. So I guess it is the time now. And I'm a little awkward about this thing because there is a kind of push and pull between Filipinos and Filipino Americans. Not all of them, but just some online. Like there was a conversation. No, there was someone talking on threads about how they were at a party and there was a Filipino complaining about dealing with other Filipinos. And this person is Filipino and his wife is Filipino too. And he was talking smack about avoiding Filipinos because all they talk about is blah, 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 blah. And then the lady who was, I guess, the OP was going, you know, I'm Filipino too, right? And then he kind of just shut up. And I don't know. Then the talk, I think, became awkward, but she was not very specific as to what happened. And then everyone was all clapping. And I was like, what's there to clap? Nothing to clap about. But, well, not necessarily like maybe online clap. Is this an online clap? I don't know. But then they're all like talking about like, oh, are those Filipino Americans that were raised there or the ones that were born there? And I don't know. They just had like this kind of animosity or like this kind of negative intonation about Filipino Americans in particular, about them avoiding other Filipinos and stuff. We have reasons. Okay. And it's not everyone. Okay. I think they might have had some bad experiences with relatives, with people that were friends but turned out they're toxic idiots and they try to suck you in. And it's not all of them. Okay. There are good. Hey, I had the fortune of encountering amazingly talented, hilarious, and crazy intelligent Filipinos. So all that BS that they put online and mainstream media is total crap. The bad stuff, I mean, not the good stuff. But at the same time, a lot of even what I don't like what other Filipinos or even some Filipino Americans do is also talk bad about their own kind. But I can understand that because, well, I was around classmates that had a bit of self-hatred in themselves for being Filipino. And I think, you know, I've encountered situations where maybe I should not like my own kind. But no, I think what helped me was going to the Philippines at a young age, not for, not to live there, but just for vacation. And that already was a lot for a little kid. And I only went there a few handfuls of time, but almost every time I went there, I had a great time. Maybe the last few times, not so much because I was bitten alive by a bunch of mosquitoes and I looked like a bloated hot dog by the time I came back. It was pretty bad. But other than that, I love the food. My relatives were super nice. There were some interesting ones. I'll just leave it at that. I said I didn't want to talk bad, okay? But overall, I liked my experience staying in the Philippines. And so when I have other Filipino Americans in the same setting as me, the few that I knew, either they never went to the Philippines or they went there once or twice and they'll never go there again. And I was like, why? And then they mentioned how corrupt. They always say, I don't want to go there because it's corrupt. It's always corrupt. Their government, their politics are corrupt. And I'm like, well, What country isn't, you know? But at the same time, they really try to make you, try to convince you that it's terrible to go there. But some of these people who say that, they've never been there. Or they went there once for like a week or two, and this is the worst experience of my life. Don't go there. And I was like, whoa, whoa. So I I am lucky enough to not have as bad of an experience over there. So, but I cannot vouch that you will not have a bad experience. You're going to encounter some culture shocks. You're going to encounter things that may challenge your, what is it? Challenge question. I don't know, identity. I didn't really think that far, but sometimes you may feel left out. Sometimes you may feel like because you don't know Tagalog or even the dialect from where your parents are from, you will feel left out. I've had that so many times. It sucks. Okay, freaking sucks, but it is a thing and it happens. The other thing is that does not necessarily mean you're not Filipino, okay? Here's why I think so. Especially if you're raised around like an older generation immigrant family like mine. And so I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty about that far, but, you know, we were raised to respect our elders. We were raised to work hard. And if we work hard enough, we can achieve a lot of goals in life and eventually have a good job, raise a family, and teach them, you know, values that we had growing up. But sometimes there are some things that, especially nowadays in our own generations, we may encounter some mannerisms, some habits that we have that is rather detrimental about being Filipino. And I'm not saying it's, well, there are some good qualities, okay? They will pitch in together as a community to help each other out. As for strings attached, that is debatable. Like maybe they will not say anything to your face about, oh, you don't have to worry about the money. You can, here, I want to help you. 3 months later, you hear from that same person who gave the money, they didn't pay me back. Or, you know, they'll say thank you and then they don't help me out. You know, they want something in return to some degree. But if you say, if you say that, they'll say, oh, there's strings attached to your favor. Maybe I shouldn't ask. And they don't want to come off like that. But then later on, I was like, how come I did this for them, but they didn't do anything back in return of equal value to me? You know, so you hear that kind of stuff. Crab mentality. Crab mentality is pretty big in our culture, especially if someone is, I hate using the word thriving because I've watched too many Reddit videos. They use the word thriving, but their lives have gotten better from hard work, or they had a promotion or an opportunity to help them, you know, expand on their life and their, you know, finances. And some people will celebrate you, and then some other people will start like distancing themselves from you. I think that is a more common one rather than being very volatile, very negative towards your success. Some of them will just start treating you weird, and it's not very obvious. That one I don't like very much. It's not very obvious, but then later on they start saying backhanded comments. They start not inviting you to certain places. They start sounding fake, and you can tell by the tones of their voice. And then later on you find, oh, someone kind enough will tell you, hey, they were kind of talking smack about you. So yeah. And so while they may sound like they're celebrating your successes, maybe behind the scenes, not so much. And that is such a killjoy. It's like, why would you do that to your own family? And then, or sometimes they feel like they don't like that person doesn't deserve it. I should have, you know, there's some people like that too. Not Filipinos, just in general. But yeah, it's so weird having to notice such things. And then I'm trying to think what else. Also, I think I heard this on a comment. I think first was in my university, and then an Asian comedian admitted this, that when your immigrant parents move to what country, usually a Western country or America, UK, what have you, their values and mindsets from their home country, it goes with them to the Western country. And so when they have children, they will instill those beliefs from, say, like mine came here in the 70s. And so the values they had learned up to the 70s, they will instill upon the children. Little do they know is that when they come back, maybe in a decade or two, a whole bunch of things have changed. A lot of their values may have changed for stability, for more stability, to compromise, whereas they are still stuck in their mindsets from this, that time, that decade. And so it's a little bit conflicting, especially if you're in a Western country. You want to do things that other Western children do, like have sleepovers with your friends, go on the weekends to, hang out with friends like the mall, or just spend more time with friends and family. But then, especially if you're raised with a family, like family's everything. So on the weekend, you spend time all the time with family. But as I got older, and while my family, including myself, would stay together for, help out with my dad's business, what was it? And we went to like these seminars for my dad's business. He was a veterinarian for animal care. Not animal care, I'm sorry, for dogs and cats. And then not other veterinarian, also Filipino families, their children didn't have to go. We were the only ones showing up every friggin' time. So I was all like, hey, what's up? Well, I didn't question, but it was quite obvious that they get to stay home and play video games while my whole family is there the whole time representing the North. So I was like, oh, okay, what's going on there? But I just kind of kept my mouth shut, because the other thing is you have to respect your elders. Don't question them too much. If you do, that's disrespect. There's another one. I mention it off and on. And so it can be very conflicting, especially you live in a time where you live in a country where they encourage you to voice your opinions and to say things that where your culture is, that's a sign of disrespect. And it's really like, and then you want to make sense of the world, and then you're told to shut up. Don't question it. Just accept it. Which is weird. Like, how do you learn about life if you don't question it? But you're just told to shut up some more. Like, I don't understand. And then you're like, am I going crazy? Is this what? And then you find out way later that that's totally normal to question things. Why do you think like that? And so you are also getting questioned, like, how come you're raised like that? And I was like, that's my family. I don't know. I was just raised like that. Of course, I also try to tiptoe around, because I do notice with some Filipino American content, they also don't want to talk bad about their families and, being ostracized eventually, because that can happen because you said things. So I can understand why there's not a lot of content, more in deep analysis as to why the family dynamics between generations in the family is very conflicting. It can raise some questions, especially those who are outside of the Filipino culture. Like, they have no idea what it's like. And then you try to explain to them, it's like, that doesn't sound right. And then you question to the family member who's causing this conflict, and they get mad at you. So it's really like, my head hurts when you're trying to decipher what's going on and how to approach it, especially when they don't want to change that mindset. They want to stay in that bubble, that maybe it's okay to think and act like this, especially if it hurts other people in the family. And so this is why I think, especially in Westernized Filipino family households, they are still Filipino. I believe they are still Filipino, because even if you don't know the language, you still were raised with those morals. Sorry. I was thinking morals and then turned to morality, and then it just turned to morale. I think that's also a word. I'm sorry, my brain is tired. But you're always in conflict with yourself. And then there's always that, am I Filipino American or an American Filipino? So that also came up in question when I was in college. And there was someone who was also Filipino American. She had that kind of, she wrote a poem, or I don't know about term paper, but she wrote something. I read it in class. I forgot what it was. I'm such a crappy person, but that does come to mind every so often. It's like, oh, and I guess I am an Americanized Filipino, but I don't see it bad, because it's out of my control. I was here, so what? But then other people see it as bad. Like, you're here, you're not American enough. when you're over there in the Philippines. You're not Filipino. Like, where the fuck do I fit in then? Okay. Can you give me that answer? And then they're like, ugh, they're such dramatic pieces of work, those Filipino Americans. They have no idea where to fit in because you're not telling me where to fit in. So you have to, like, I did mention, like, in my notes, like, how do I solve this kind of mental conflict? Short attention span. I don't recommend it, but it helps to not think too hard about such things. Friends and some kind of level of support and a level of trust, I think, would help a lot, especially if you don't feel like in your family it's like, ugh. It depends, though. It depends. But also just read the room a bit, make sure it's okay, or give them a warning, or I don't feel good, let me talk to you about something. But they also have to be not dealing with too much stuff on their end. So I also have, like, am I a burden? Am I a burden? So you can seek out help, but approach with caution sometimes, especially nowadays where people can use that stuff against you. And that's really annoying. I had a person or two try to do that to me and I stopped talking to them. So that solves that problem. And then what else can I suggest? What I think is also good is you talk to the family, and I don't think that'll work, especially if they're stuck in that mindset. You can bring it up, but there's a good chance they'll get mad at you for questioning their authority. But the other thing is, if they do care and respect your opinions, they would listen. But the other thing is, maybe they don't. There is another thing. That's why it's really hard to approach. There's also therapy, talking to other Filipino Americans. I think that would also help to exchange their experiences and realize we're not that alone as we thought. We're not as crazy as we thought. We're just stuck in this time period sometimes where things are going forward, but in the household, you're stuck in 1986 or something like that, you know? It's really, it's not a one video type of thing. You kind of have to, like, and it's definitely not an overnight thing as well. This is something you have to come to grips with sooner or later, not just in Filipino culture. I think those who were born and raised in a country where you kind of have no idea where you fit in. And then if you try to ask, you're like, oh, you're supposed to fit in and what. But then you go to that group and they look down on you because you don't know the language, which I've gotten a lot. Not a lot, but like it would show up every so often from a complete stranger. And usually an older person, like in their late 40s, early 50s, which is funny because I'm getting there. So it's really, and then the other thing with me is my hobbies are not like Filipino American hobbies even. I don't know about Filipino hobbies because they got lives, they got things to do. I don't talk bad about. And hey man, they have a lot more resilience than I can ever achieve. But like hobbies wise, I don't know. I have a hard time getting along with them, especially with my hobbies. I don't know too many Filipino Americans that like the same things that I do. And most anime, and that is the best of the best, and maybe Marvel comics, but I think it was more around the movies they were garnering more interest. But no, my oldest brother was also into comic books, so yeah, that's how I also got along with him so well, and other people here as well. I read comic books and also alternative brands, not just Marvel, DC. So I was able to get along with people who were into comic books more. And art stuff's kind of hit and miss. I don't really even have art friends in real life. That's pretty sad. But at the same time, it's not like it's impossible. They also suggest online, like, you have to go out and touch grass and go see people. And like, man, I wish. A lot of people I see outside when I leave the house, I'm like, oh man, maybe I should just stay home. I hate when I think like that. Like, I need to socialize, and then I step outside, like, oh shit. Maybe it's my middle-aged brain talking, but I'm like, ugh, come on, man. Let's just get the milk and go home. So yeah, it's I think it depends. If you are like the extrovert social butterfly and you can just make friends at a drop of a hat, by all means go for it. But for me, who is not like that at all, sucks at social networking to a fault, it's a lot harder and challenging for us to even want to get out there and do the thing. Whereas online, it's so much easier. But I feel like nowadays, especially with money on the mind and inflation left and right, everything's expensive, and people looking out for themselves a lot more than 10, 15 years ago or 20 years ago. It's a lot harder online as well to make friends without, like, is there an agenda? Why do you want this? Why are you talking to me? What do you want from me? And so it's rough. It's rough, but it could be much worse. So while I do have these mental issues in my head about where is my identity, I'm not making fun of that. It's just, well, it doesn't pop up as often as it used to be. But every so often I'm reminded that I should learn my family's language, not my home language. So my home language is here. And then they also say, well, why don't you learn Spanish? I was actually mistaken for Mexican a few times recently. That's not bad. I think they're cool. It's just, I don't. Sorry. And they do know English. It's just, I don't know. I think it's cool, but I'm not. I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, some Filipino things. And I also want to make Filipino things, but I worry that I'm not Filipino enough to do them, especially if there's people rummaging around like, well, you are not Filipino enough. You do this, And I think there are people like that. And it freaks me out sometimes. It's like, why can't I do that? But eventually, the other thing is I haven't found anything that I want to make yet. Maybe the Filipino dragon. I wouldn't mind. Yes, we have one. We have our own dragon. How come no one's talking about it? But yeah, I want to do more Filipino things. I'm still looking through more mythology, but some of them are kind of weird. And then the whole thing about witches, they're not necessarily witches per se. They're like spiritualists. This was pre-colonial times, and they were not seen as a negative entity prior to the Spanish invasion. Colonization. But they were seen as a threat, and so they got rid of that. Also, the mentality where women can be as equal as men, they got rid of that. Now they have that machismo, macho man mentality, and toxic masculinity has been thrown in. So men also have their own problems with dealing with what does it mean to be a man sometimes. Not to mention, I don't even want to get started on that discussion. Unless there's someone who wants to talk to me about that, I'm more than happy to. But I've yet to encounter such people. And then what else? I want more Filipino things, but I want more things besides lumpia and chanelas and talking with confusing F's and P's and relationship stuff. And I'm like, is there anything more than just that, or just the parties? And yeah, I'm like, I know there are more, but I think in terms, if it's accessible to those that speak English, it's not a lot. I think if you know Tagalog, so I think that's another reason why, while you don't have to, it is recommended. There is a whole other world that they're not showing us. I'm like, man, I have to join a club now. But I don't know. I'm just always doing stuff, and by the time I can sit down and do something, I do this instead. Maybe I should multitask, but the other thing is I don't like talking. That's why I'm always envious of those who know more than one language. I'm so jealous of you guys. I admire you, and I'm so jealous. It's not a bad jealous, but I was like, oh man. But it's so cool of them to do that. And then they're so freaking nice to me to even bother speaking English. So I'm so thankful for that. But at the same time, I'm like, ugh, I should. At most, I know Japanese the most, then Mandarin, and then maybe Spanish and Tagalog in between, because that's kind of a default, but it's very minuscule compared to Japanese and Chinese, or Mandarin rather. I didn't do very much. I'm so sorry. But yeah, 43 minutes, and I'm kind of stuffy. Like, even though I have a lighter sweater, I'm still kind of like, ugh, what's going on here? I'm all kind of hot in temperature. So yeah, that was my spiel. Like, even if you were not raised to learn to speak the language, as long as you're raised with a Filipino family and they teach you certain lessons and morals that are very Filipino, you're still Filipino. And also some habits I noticed, like Filipinos are artisans and they create so many things like crafts and basket weaving, making their own fabrics, dyeing fabrics, um, architecture as well, making designer dresses. Um, I think also makeup. I'm not sure, but like, yeah, like they are also great at artistic work, and so it is what it is. It speaks for itself. And then the other kind is a sense of humor. They are crazy funny, but sometimes their humor can also be a little bit insensitive. So just bear that in mind. But if you know them well and it's all in good humor, it should be fine in theory, but also be careful. Approach with caution sometimes. Um, but most part, the humor is okay. Most parts. And then loving music and dance. I know a lot of cultures are like that, but Filipinos in particular, there's always a ongoing joke of always being at the karaoke machine and always having to be the perfect person who belts out like a Beyonce song or a Mariah Carey song or a Celine Dion song, even a Michael Jackson song to some degree, or one of those rock bands I can't remember right now, but yeah, those guys, they can sing it out just as good, if not better, to some degree. And they won several contests in international and Western, not pageants. They're crazy, gorgeous as hell. Well, that's a given. Okay. Not all. Well, sometimes I look good. Sometimes, what is that? But yeah, well, the beauty pageant scene, yep, they do that. That's all I can say about that. But there's also the whole, you know, colorism, or they favor lighter skin over anything lighter than light. There's also that mentality. I've seen it. And some people that I know make comments like, oh, she's so beautiful. And I see the picture and she is noticeably very light skinned, like almost paper white. And I was like, what else is there? Does she have a good job? How's her education? How's her personality? No, she's just so beautiful. And I was like, oh, I'm getting nowhere with this conversation. So yeah, there's always good sides and bad sides. Also, yeah, dancing is another thing. For me, I don't like singing, but I can come up with songs for my kid, for like little lullabies. I have little lullabies only for him, not for you. But sadly, he doesn't remember a lot of them, but I remember most of them. And so, yeah, I don't mind that. Or if I'm forced to do KTV or karaoke, I can sing a few, but not enough for me like to hog the freaking microphone for like 3 hours. No, thank you. Dancing is also a thing I avoid. I used to like dancing. Not professional or even lessons taught. It was just move your body around to the beat. That's it. What I found out that some people need to have those dancing lessons, because without it, they don't dance to the rhythm, and it's really weird. I saw it myself. I will not say where I saw it. I want them to feel bad, but it was really weird. I never saw that before, because growing up, I was always my family was always dancing around the rooms for fun. They practiced dance moves, and they tried to record it on the VHS recorder. I will not say which ones, but I grew up around that. So when I see people who naturally cannot dance without being told step by step by step, I was like, what is this? What is this? It was so weird for me. But looking back, it's like, well, that's their culture. They're not encouraged to just dance for fun. They have to have like a step by step process to get the moves, to get the rhythm. I was like, oh my God, that's one of my culture shocks that I discovered in recent years. I mean, several years ago. Well, that doesn't make them bad people. It's just they never really were encouraged to dance that way. They were just told to do more important things than dance around. That's what I could figure out anyway. And so, yeah, like those kinds of things, and enjoying, arts and dance and stuff, that is also a very Filipino thing. There are people, though, and it's not their fault, okay? You can't like, oh, if you can't dance, you're not Filipino. Like, don't say that, stupid. They have other Filipino, habits and mindsets. So don't Don't be so freaking rude about that stuff. Why are you a gatekeeper? Get a life. And so even if you don't know the language, there are other things that you may have that definitely shows that you are Filipino. If you're, growing up, born and raised as a Filipino American or whatever westernized Asian Filipino you are. Yeah. Yeah. So if anyone says that crap, for starters, tell them to shut up. And then the other thing is go away. And then just do your own thing, Like, who are you? Like, you're not the government telling me I'm not Filipino. Yeah, some people have that mindset. You would think 2025 we'd be a lot more open-minded. No, we're not. It just exposes more who is really stuck in their weird closeted, or no, not closeted, but like weird mentality that you can only be a certain way if you do this. Like, who the hell said that? That's stupid. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that. It took way longer. It's already 50 minutes. I need to do something else. I don't want to talk too long. But yeah, Filipinos especially, they love arts and stuff, and singing and dancing and playing musical instruments, and wood carving would be kind of cool to try, to be honest, but it kind of terrifies me because I'm not, even with painting is fine because that's safe. Tools, like power tools, I have like low-key micro fears of cutting off my fingers if I handle a power tool, but like maybe maybe not that, maybe like just the regular traditional tools of carving. I wouldn't mind. That would be kind of cool, but I don't know where to start. Though I do see some things on Daiso where they have like wood blocks and wood slabs that you can start carving. I need to look again if they have the tools. I might look into that because I see some things on Instagram like, oh, I want to try that. That looks kind of fun, but it might be more difficult than it seems. So I will probably look into that. That'd be kind of cool to try. See, this is what I like about doing art things. I see something interesting and wonder how far I can go from there, and then just try it. If it's a bust, then I just stop. But if it's pretty good, or there's potential to continue forward, then that's a whole other story. And I don't mind trying that far. So while there are people out there that they are interested in art, but they like, I can't do it. I don't have the time. And I understand. Believe me, I understand. If you have the time, make the goddamn time. Sorry, I said curse words, but at the same time, it's like, just do it. Okay. It's okay to try. You can study things, or just start something easier. Just start with, what can I say? Just start with drawing. You have the materials already. They're right there. You have no excuse. Even if it's lined paper, that's totally fine. I drew in long line paper all the time, even up to college, but it was more like sketches. But if the sketch turns out to be, hey, this is pretty good, you can transfer it to computer printer paper, which I did for years. Speaking of which, let me take a tiny break. I will do this a little bit more, but then I mentioned that I have old art. And so here's the snake painting for those who forgot. Yeah. I didn't touch it that much. After the last live stream, I didn't do anything. And so maybe I should have these side by side just to see how drastic my interests are. So we have realistic snake and Daiso snake. I like this one more. Funny enough, this was harder for me. I wish I was lying. To get the exact lines, and there's a problem there I need to fix, but I don't want to. I'm tired. And I had to make this look less of a poop and more of a snake, was a little bit harder. And then these little things here were a little bit more challenging. Whereas this, I could breeze this. It's just I got tired. And so I will go back to this eventually. Maybe after this guy, we'll see. So, oh, I'm sorry. So just goes to show I like different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I guess algorithms and audiences don't like that. Too bad. Okay, so let's see. So last week, I found some folders or portfolios of my old crusty, dusty art. I'm not showing all of it, though, because that's oh my God. I don't know. I should do a video of it and react to it. I already did that on Instagram. That's why I'm kind of tired. And I won't show all of it that I have in here. So let's see. And some of them I was making fun of family members because little kids do that. Okay, but I'm not mean enough to show what it was. So I used to draw on smaller sketchbooks sometimes. But let me start on the ones that I mentioned, like you can draw on freaking paper. Line paper. Yeah, I used to do that a lot. As for why, I don't know. So I used to draw anime stuff on paper, as you can see here. Oh my god, I think I was trying to get used to drawing with this sort of sketch method. It's awful. I hate it. But you got to start from somewhere. You can't be like an amazing artist overnight, okay? If you are, don't talk to me. But anyway, so yeah, I was really bad at legs. I was really bad at hands. I always draw them as if they're scratching their butt or hiding something nefarious behind their backs. And I tried to get into the idea of using these sorts of models, those wooden models that they always try to shove at our faces back in the day. And well, she turned out okay, but I think this was more of a chibi version. And then this one was, I was trying to get but I stopped using it. It was just it just felt weird. Let me see. There's some dirty stuff here. I don't know. I mean, like there's dirt on the stuff. And I have some original characters, but I don't show that. So yeah, I have been drawing on other papers, not just, sketchbook paper, heaven forbid, because I don't finish my sketchbooks that much. And then I also used to draw X-Men a lot, or Marvel characters like Psylocke. Oh my god, this is so ugly. I hate it. But I was so into trying to draw them. I thought, well, I think this still sucked, but back then maybe I thought, oh, I guess it's okay. And then I had Sabretooth. Yeah. This one actually turned out pretty good. Not the best, and the art style I wasn't too interested in, but I had to practice somehow. And then I tried to draw my own characters, which really sucked. So, well, not my own characters, but like do like a costume thing, like change their costumes, like what my oldest brother would do. And this was Bling from the Age of Apocalypse. And what the hell is that? Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't like it. This might have been from 96 or 97. I don't have a definite date, but it was around that time. And then I used to draw Bishop and Shard. Oh my god. See, I always hid their hands because I was so not confident with drawing hands. Even now, I suck at drawing hands. I have to really force myself to draw hands, even though my hand anatomy is so awful. I try, and it's like, ugh. And I try looking at tutorials, but they don't really do much of a difference for me. And then, original character, no. Then I tried to draw Onslaught, but I clearly got lazy. But Onslaught was actually pretty cool. Kind of messed up though, but pretty cool. So I might draw Onslaught someday. But I really don't like the color scheme. Maybe I'll dim the colors down, not make it so bright. And then I also tried to draw Psylocke / Lady Mandarin, but I actually this one turned out pretty good. But I don't know what happened. Maybe I lost confidence on the way. I don't know. It was kind of funny. But one drawing in particular turned out pretty good. I was surprised I even did that. By eyeballing something. Eyeballing it, yeah. Wait, where did I put? I just had it. Where is you? What the heck? I was just holding on to it, and then I put somewhere stupid. Where are you? Well, one thing that turned out pretty okay. It's not the drawing I'm talking about. Let me show what it is. It's Pachaco. And so, behold my name. But yeah, I have a Sanrio fix that has been following me since I was a little kid. So here you go. It never left. But I stopped liking Pachaco and other characters as much and switched over to Tuxedo Sam and Zashiki Buddha because I like them. But now Tuxedo Sam and Hagyudan have gotten popular. And I was like, well, Oh, okay. So I can draw this one. Let me show this one. So this got a little better. So this is Devil Hunter Yoko. I should not have been watching that at that time, but here we are. If you know how these movies OVAs are, Whew, it's kind of like Sailor Moon, but more violent and fan servicey, let's just say. But compared to the other ones I was showing, that was pretty good. This is pretty good in my opinion. Yeah, more Psylocke. I really liked her, but then later on she's kind of but yeah, I liked the art style back then. And yes, Sanrio followed me to the ends of time, apparently. What else do I have? I'm trying to, where was that good drawing I was just talking about? Now it sounds like I'm making things up. Am I? No, where did it go? I was just, did it fall somewhere? And my phone fell. Lovely. Where did you go? That was the only good, I was just fiddling around with it. Now it's like not here. That's insane. Okay, meanwhile, while I look for it for the umpteenth time, which is insane, I'm not going to show my original character. Oh, here we go. I found it. So out of all the small paper ones that I have, this was the best one of the bunch. Okay, so how I got it that clean and accurate is, I don't know. I don't even know who this character is. I think she was from, what's it called? The Star Jumpers, or that pirate, the Galaxy Pirates who, Scott Summers and, Cyclops and Havoc's dad was the leader of, and she was part of the members. I forgot her name. I'm like, but I thought this costume was kind of cool. Or this might have been Age of Apocalypse. I freaking forgot. I'm not well versed in my Marvel lore anymore. I'm sorry, but I really thought this design was cool. Maybe I can redraw this just from this, and maybe, but that's if I feel like it and if I remember, because I have so many projects. He's looking at me. Yeah, but I really like how this turned out. This is pretty neat. And well, also, I'm surprised the colors, the vibrancy of the purple. It's not the same purple on camera, funny enough, but it held its own. Well, I guess I preserved it pretty well, surprisingly. And then painting. Oh, I do have a painting, but it's not the one I want to show. Well, nah, I don't like it. So I think this was from Chrono Cross, and this, I think I had this slight phase of yin and yang things, and this was like maybe a Chrono Cross version of it, but I like the hot and cold polar opposite sort of thing going on, so I thought it was kind of neat. And I like the watercolor overall look, so yeah. And then I think this was, yeah, Sanrio. Yeah, I think this was another watercolor painting as well. It's so weird, but I still like, I am the type that will keep as much of my old drawings as possible, because why not? And I tried to do abstract, and I don't know. I think I was just testing it, and I don't approve of these color choices, but here we are. But not much has changed. So this is before, when I was like maybe 11, 12, and then yeah. All right then. And then here's my still life of my Stimpy doll that I had long ago. I think I was not interested in painting bottles and people's faces and still life jars and flowers. I wanted something I actually liked, so I picked up my Stimpy doll. But do I even have that? I think I have that doll somewhere. I just have to find it. But maybe I'll do a still life sort of thing and try to recreate it somehow if I remember. That's the other thing. I do have a bunch of plushie dolls though. So yeah, that's all I'm going to show right now. The rest is too cringe for me to handle. But yeah, I really, 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 really liked how this one turned out. So I might either make my own version of this or try to do a little bit of some creative, try to build from this itself, so by itself. So I don't know. I have a lot of projects, so that's not a concrete official. Yes, I will do the project. This is like, it's in the back of my mind somewhere, but it's there because I really liked how it turned out ultimately. Oh my god, I'm tired of talking. And I think for a while I will not talk about Filipino things too much. I don't want this to be, giving Filipino American advice sort of thing. No, this was just something that I've been meaning to talk about for at least a week or two ago. And then I forgot, then I remembered. And then guess what? My little chubby wubbies is waking up. So what did I do today this, not in one sitting. There was a lot of progress off camera, but I just kind of tried to fix the blending area and tried to cover whatever bluish purple area that I did not cover properly. Excuse me. It's slowly coming together, which I do like. I still have a whole bunch of things to work on, especially the lines here. It's not as, there's not as much depth, so I might have to add some extra darker reds or like maybe a dark brown of some kind to add a little bit more shadows. The scales need more work. The transitioning from the colors to colors also need more work, but it's getting there. So as long as I'm getting there, that's all that matters to me. It does not have to be adhering to the original reference 100% of the time, because I know I can't do that. I'm not that good. I was talking a lot about Filipino things because I'm Filipino American. I figure I should talk about such things. And my somewhat struggle, it's not like a severe struggle. I mean, maybe it should be, but I don't think about it too much because there's just so much going on in my life that I was, oh yeah, they don't like me for not knowing Tagalog. So it does pop every so often, but not enough for me to be like, oh, is this who I am now? Am I not Filipino enough? Am I not American? Like, it does come up, but it doesn't affect my life that much. But should it? I don't know. I like myself as I am right now. There are some things I would like to change, but for the time being, I still know who I am enough to not be like in this limbo of, am I Filipino or American? And I am myself. That's all that matters. And if you don't like it, well, go suck some eggs somewhere else. Rotten eggs. So yeah. Other things. Even I did mention, like, even if you're not speaking the Filipino language, you can still, and you are Filipino and you were raised in a westernized country, especially in the US, you're still Filipino if you were raised, especially around other Filipinos, but like, you have similar culture, mindsets, not the beliefs, but like habits, manners, interests like music and dance and arts and cooking as well. I forgot to mention cooking. Yeah, this is proof. This is more than enough proof that I am Filipino. It may not be Filipino oriented, but I've been doing art since I could hold a pencil. So if that doesn't say I'm Filipino, I don't know what is. So, and there is some gatekeeping in the Filipino American community, and I'm not very well versed in that. I try to avoid that stuff because I don't like seeing that stuff. It kind of makes me not feel so good about myself, but it's also like I don't want to keep entering a deep dive of this very toxic head butting thing, and so I just look away, but every so often I do see it, and I'm like, why are we always against each other? Why can't we just get along? Why can't we all just get along? But I don't know, people just don't want to, and oh well. I can't do much about that. And so I also wonder about my son, like, he's Filipino and Chinese, so what should I do with that? But I'm thinking he's becoming more Chinese, but he has Filipino tendencies, like my sense of humor, loving to dance, but on his own terms. He loves to sing. And he also likes to make things. And he also likes to make buildings and bridges. So with his building blocks assortment. So yes, we are proof that even if we don't know the language, that does not make us any less Filipino when we have like these habits, these hobbies, these interests, these mindsets. And we also do challenge some things. It's just we were raised not to do so. So that doesn't mean we don't say anything at all. It's just, I think, especially if push comes to shove, we will say what we want to say. So anyway, my throat is sore now and my little chubby baby is waking up. I think I need to make some lunch and we'll probably go out. Maybe I could cram in some extra details here and there. And while that person left, I'm going to go because no one cares, but I care. And that's all that matters. So that's it. If you watch this afterwards, feel free to leave me a comment and make sure it's nice. I like nice things too. So I'll shut up now. I'll stop bragging on you. Thanks for watching, popping in. If you watch it afterwards, I'd appreciate a lot more if you watch all of it. But hey, you can skip around. I do that sometimes too. That's totally fine. And yeah, that's it. have a great Wednesday, great rest of your week, spring break, whatever you're doing, and whatever time zone you're in. This is Delion signing on out, and I am sweaty. See you next time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye-bye.